Welcome to Story Hunter. Pata Seca, a black slave, had a tough time. His master made him have more than 200 children. This happened around 1808, when they stopped bringing new African slaves to the USA and the Caribbean. At the same time, things were changing in the economy. People started growing a lot of cotton, sugarcane, and rice because it made a lot of money. The cotton gin, a new machine, helped a ton in growing short staple cotton easily. This made cotton the most important crop in the Deep South, and slaves became like things that were really important for making money from these crops. Born in Brazil in 1828 to African slave parents, Pata Seca's life unfolded within the harsh realities of slavery. His existence reflects the poignant struggles faced by those born into a system that commodified human lives, leaving an indelible mark on the historical narrative of human exploitation. Pata Seca's story shows how bad slavery was during this time. It was a big moment in history when they stopped bringing in new African slaves, but the hard work and suffering for the existing slaves continued. The changes in the economy, with more focus on growing cash crops like cotton, made slaves even more valuable to their owners. This part of history is not easy to hear about, but it's important to understand how things were in the past. As the slave trade ended and high mortality rates among slaves due to strenuous labor depleted their numbers, slaveholders faced a shortage. In response, they turned to a sinister idea born from viewing humans as commodities with no more rights than livestock. To bolster the slave supply, slaveholders focused on the fertility of slave women, intermittently forcing them to bear large numbers of children. The story of a man who would go on to father as many children that make up a small village. That man was Pata Seca. There are many tales to his legend, with some saying he lived 10 times the lifetimes of any slave. Before we get right into the video, please smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. Pata Seca, born Roque José Florencio, endured a life of oppression as an enslaved African in Brazil, primarily serving as a breeder to produce offspring for his owner's benefit. His nickname, Pata Seca, meaning dry paw in English, stemmed from the tradition of giving animal names to slaves on the farm. Standing at 2.18 meters with thin legs and large hands and feet, he was deemed ideal for the role due to superstitions linking tall men to the likelihood of fathering male children. Enslaved by farmer Francisco Dotso and Habuno in São Carlos, São Paulo, Pata Seca's unique position involved delivering mail and caring for animals, avoiding field work and slave quarters. Approximately 30% of the current population in Santa Eudoxia, São Carlos, traces their ancestry back to Pata Seca, who served as a breeder to enhance labor force genetics. Controlled by his owner's desires, Pata Seca's life included meticulous health checks, proper feeding, and being treated as livestock for breeding purposes. The exact number of women he slept with or the frequency of these encounters remains unknown. However, it is estimated that Pata Seca fathered over 200 children who inherited their father's enslaved status. Consequently, they too experienced lives of servitude, with some being sold for profit and others compelled to toil on their owners' plantations. The children of Pata Seca were treated very poorly and had to endure harsh conditions and unimaginable cruelty. They were often forced to work from a very young age, performing back-breaking labor on plantations or in households where they were owned. These children were not allowed to have a normal childhood and were stripped of their innocence. It was quite a haunting life, and the complete opposite of Seca's experience, as he was given all he needed as long as he could produce more offspring. At the time, Pata Seca could barely tell which children were his, along with those of other breeders. The young ones among the enslaved faced more than just hard work. They had to endure both physical and emotional pain from their masters and mistresses. These kids went through dehumanizing treatment, and something as basic as education was kept away from them. There was this belief that if they learned too much, it would threaten the whole system of slavery. So they deliberately kept these children in the dark, stopping them from growing smart. Denying them education was a way to make sure they stayed dependent. It's heartbreaking to think about how these kids were denied a chance to develop their minds. Understanding these tough times is important to see how resilient people had to be in the face of such cruelty. Due to his exceptional success in fathering an astounding 200 children for his owner during the era of slavery, Pata Seca enjoyed privileged treatment, including special privileges and the grant of a plot of land. The abolition of slavery in Brazil in 1888 marked a significant turning point in Pata Seca's life. Renamed Seca, he seized the opportunity to shape his own destiny, marrying Palmyra and establishing their family. In the post-emancipation era, Pata Seca, now a landowner, transitioned into the role of a farmer, cultivating Pata Seca. The plot of land bestowed upon him became a symbol of resilience and determination. Despite the modest earnings from the tireless production and sale of rapadura, a traditional Brazilian sweetener, Seca ensured the well-being of his extraordinary family. Raising 200 children presented unique challenges, making his commitment to their care a testament to his enduring spirit. The legacy of Pata Seca speaks not only to Seca's personal journey from slavery to land ownership, but also to the extraordinary circumstances of raising such a large family in post-emancipation Brazil. The challenges of providing for a family of this size in a world newly freed from the shackles of slavery reflect the complexities and resilience required in navigating the aftermath of a dark period in history. Seca's story stands as a unique chapter in the broader narrative of individuals forging new lives and legacies after the abolition of slavery. As a free man, Seca couldn't connect with the numerous children he fathered during slavery. Lacking formal education and access to documentation, he faced challenges tracing his offspring, as records of children born into slavery were rarely kept, complicating his search. Pata Seca died on June 13, 1958, at the age of 130 years old. He died peacefully in his bed in Santa Eudoxia, São Carlos, São Paulo, Brazil. At the time of his death, he was surrounded by his family and friends who honored him with songs and prayers. Seca lived through many historical events and changes in Brazil. He witnessed the end of slavery in 1888, the proclamation of the Republic in 1889, the rise and fall of several presidents and dictator years, 2 world wars, and many social movements. Breeding slaves wasn't a choice made out of kindness, but a harsh way to ensure a constant workforce, continuing the cycle of cruelty. Despite Pata Seca's tough early life, things got better after slavery ended. His story shows how strong and resilient people can be even in really tough times. From being a slave dad, he became a free man, started a family, and even owned land. It's a hopeful example of overcoming tough times. Every June 13th, in Brazil, Pata Seca's descendants come together to pay tribute, keeping his memory alive and preserving the history of the harsh realities of slavery. This annual gathering serves as a poignant reminder of the struggles endured by their ancestor and countless others during a dark chapter in history. It reflects a commitment to ensuring that the legacy of Pata Seca remains a beacon of resilience and strength, inspiring future generations to appreciate the importance of understanding and acknowledging the past while fostering a sense of unity among his descendants. Pata Seca's story helps us understand the challenges people faced after slavery. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you liked this video, don't forget to hit the like button below and subscribe. See you in the next video.